So good day. In this video, I will present about family focused therapy, no, or the FFT for individuals diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So, ang layunin ng presentation na ito ay ipaliwanag, no, ang structure, the process at ang layunin ng FFT at kung paano ito makakatulong sa pasyente at sa kanilang pamilya. So, in the context of therapy, no, CFFT is a structured, evidence-based therapy designed for patients with bipolar disorder and their families. So, CFFT is ginagamit ito kasabay ng medication upang mapabuti ang recovery ng pasyente at mabawasan ang stress sa pamilya. So, sa treatment objectives and structure nito is that si FFT has 6 primary objectives. So lahat ng layuning ito ay nakatuon sa pagharap at pag-iwas sa mga episode ng bipolar disorder. So firstly is integrating integrating the episode. So matutulungan ang pamilya at pasyente na maunawaan, no, ang mga nangyayari noong recent episode. Next one is the recognizing vulnerability. So dito tatanggapin, no, na may posibilidad ng pag-ulit ng symptoms. And third objective is the medication acceptance. So mahalaga ang tuloy-tuloy na pag-inom ng mood stabilizers. And then the fourth one is distinguishing personality versus illness. So mahalaga na malaman ang kaibahan, no, ng ugali ng pasyente at ng sintomas ng sakit. And number 5, managing stress and triggers, which is matututunan paano i-handle ang stress na maaring mag-trigger ng episode. And then number 6 is the re-establishing relationships, no? So ayusin muli ang nasirang relasyon sa pamilya dahil sa mga episode ng bipolar or ng recent bipolar disorder na na-experience ng client. So as for the setting and implementation, no, si FFT is conducted in outpatient settings tulad ng sa UCLA, sa Stanford at iba pa. So ginagamit ito sa mga pasyente, no, mula sa mga bata, sa teenagers hanggang adults, no, na nasa bipolar spectrum like sa bipolar disorder 1, bipolar disorder 2 and the BDNOS. So may mga variables tayo na tinitingnan, no. So ito yung mga involved sa bipolar disorder na meron as a concern ng isang individual. So number 1 dito or firstly is the client variables, which is kadalasan kasama sa bahay ang pamilya, and of course yung presentations, no, can be manic or hypomanic, depressed or mixed. So kailangan ding may kasabay na psychiatric treatment at medication. So kung may kasamang substance use naman is dapat ma-stabilize muna ito. And ang mga pasyente ay karaniwang nakatira kasama ang kanilang pamilya. So iba-iba rin ang kanilang presentations, no? Maari silang magkaroon ng mania, depression, hypomania o pwede ring mixed states, no? So importantly, CFFT is done alongside medication. So patients must be under psychiatric care and taking mood stabilizers like lithium, Depakote or Lamictal, no? So of course, collaboration between the therapist and psychiatrist is key. So mahalaga rin talaga yung collaboration na tinatawag natin. So kailangan sabay ang therapy at gamot. And may mahigpit na ugnayan ang psychiatrist at ang therapist para matiyak ang tamang pag-inom ng gamot at maiwasan ang splitting, no, o kalituhan sa pamilya. Therapist qualifications. As for therapist qualifications naman, no, pwedeng maging student therapist o may karanasan na. So nakadepende rin na naman. Kasi ang tinitingnan is mahalaga ang systemic at biopsychosocial understanding, no, ng therapist na mag-a-assist sa client or sa patient na nakakaranas ng bipolar disorder. So proceeding sa ating pre-treatment assessment, no, bago magsimula ang therapy, may diagnostic evaluation muna. So, diagnosing bipolar disorder, especially in youth, can be very tricky rin talaga. So, kasi madalas ay mali ang diagnosis. So, ang mga bata ay minsan nadadiagnose no, ng depression, borderline personality disorder, o cyclothymia. Kaya mahalaga ang paggamit ng structured interviews tulad ng SCID para sa adults at KSADS-PL para sa mga bata. So of course, yung retrospective recall of symptoms can be unreliable din. So that's why FFT also uses tools like the social rhythm, metric, and life chart to track daily moods and stressors. So gamit ng mood charting, mas malinaw kung paano bumabago ang mood ng pasyente araw-araw. So nakakatulong din ito sa pag-unawa kung ano ang mga posibleng triggers. Also, family interviews like the Camberwell family interview is ginagamit rin to assess emotional climates and responses. So it identifies the areas FFT should focus on. So as for its challenges naman, maaring mali ang diagnosis lalo na sa mga bata at teens. So kadalasang nami-mistake ito bilang borderline personality disorder, depression, o cyclothymia. And of course, additionally, may mga structured tools na ginagamit tulad ng yung nabanggit ko kanina na SCID or the structured clinical interview for DSM disorders, which is ginagamit for adults, and KSADS-PL, which stands for KIDI Schedule for Affective Disorder and Schizophrenia in the present and lifetime version, which is ginagamit naman siya for children and adolescents. And of course, andyan din si mood charting, which is si social rhythmic metric at life chart ay ginagamit para i-track ang mood, stressors, or routines, which is nakakatulong ito para ma-evaluate ang progress. Then, of course, kinakailangan din na kasama ang pamilya ng client sa isasagawang assessment. Kasi nga, may impacts rin ang nasabing disorder or itong bipolar disorder, let's say sa interactions, sa connection, or sa relationship ng client sa kanyang family. So that is why kasali si family assessment, in which ginagamit ang Camberwell family interview. So dito is sinusuri ang tension sa bahay, reaksyon ng pamilya sa pasyente, at yung kaalaman ng pamilya tungkol sa bipolar. So proceeding sa ating process of treatment naman, si FFT is following a structured module divided into 3 main phases, which is number 1 is the psychoeducation, which is usually 7+ sessions. So ang goal nito is turuan ang pamilya tungkol sa bipolar disorder gamit ang mga handouts at discussion. So also si psychoeducation is the first and the longest phase, kasi nga it lasts around 7 to 10 sessions, which is ang mga pamilya is matututo dito about sa mga sintomas ng bipolar disorder, the mania, the hypomania, and of course the depression, And ang pinakahuling episode, which is paano ito nagsimula, ano ang naging epekto sa pamilya, ano yung sanhi ng disorder, let's say pwedeng genetics, the stress, or even the biological factors, So sa mga gamot at self-management naman is kasali rin, and ang papel ng pamilya sa recovery ng pasyente. So natuturo yan lahat dito sa psychoeducation. And also additionally, clinicians use the re-entry model to explain how families must readjust after a mood episode. So it's like a reacquaintance period, Parang muling pagpapakilala sa isa't isa matapos ang isang krisis. So dito, sinisigurado ng therapist na nauunawaan ng pamilya na natural lamang ang mga emosyon nilang nararanasan. Like yung pagod, inis, takot, at ang mahalaga ay pag-usapan ito ng bukas. Of course, we have the key concept, which is the vulnerability stress model, na pinapaliwanag na ang sakit ay bunga ng kombinasyon, no, ng biological at environmental stressors. So also, symptom handouts are used not just for information but to spark dialogue, like families and patients is dinidiscuss nila kung paano yung symptoms and paano yun ma-look and ma-feel, no. So this helps distinguish the disorder from the person. Kasi minsan natatanong ng pasyente kung ako ba ito o epekto ng bipolar. So dito pumapasok ang relapse drill na sinasabi natin, which is inaalala ang mga warning signs at nagpaplano kung paano ito haharapin sa susunod, no? And of course, everyone in the family is given a role, whether it's contacting the psychiatrist, the ensuring medication is taken, or pwedeng mag-offer, no, ng emotional support. So in the vulnerability stress model, no, and life events is that importanteng malaman na yung mahalagang risk factors is kulang sa tulog, substance abuse, at pwedeng gulo sa pamilya. But meron din namang mga protective factors na tulad ng magandang suporta, tuloy-tuloy na pag-inom ng gamot, at tahimik na kapaligiran. So also, a life events survey is used to identify recent stressors, no, which is ina-understand, no, iniintindi yung mga triggers kahit hindi magkasundo sa sanhi ay nakakatulong sa relapse prevention or para ma-prevent yung relapse to take place again, the patient or the client. So next one is the communication enhancement training, which typically lasts 7 to 8 sessions. So ang goal nito is palakasin ang kakayahan ng pamilya na makipag-usap ng maayos. So ang mga skills na tinuturo dito is that expressing positive feelings, no, or pagpapakita ng papuri or appreciations, something like that. Also the active listening, no, which is makinig ng buo at may empathy, and making requests for change, which is hiling na may respeto pa, kumbaga, mga something like that, and expressing negative feelings constructively. As for its methodology, of course, we have role plays, we have homework assignments, and pwede ring feedback and modeling, no? Like halimbawa, kung ang anak ay nagiging irritable tuwing stress, so dito tinuturuan ang mga magulang, no, kung paano siya kakausapin ng hindi lalala ang sitwasyon. And then next one, sa number 3, problem solving skills training usually lasts 4 to 5 sessions. Ang goal naman dito is mabigyan, no, ng structured approach sa pagresolba ng problema sa loob ng pamilya. So may mga ilang steps dito na presented, no. Firstly is to define the problem, brainstorm solutions. Number 3, evaluate the pros and cons, no, ng disorder, ng bipolar disorder ng isang patient or ng client, and the choose and implement solution. Of course, lastly, number 5, follow up and revise if needed. Additionally, common problems addressed dito, no, is the medication non-adherence, financial difficulties, or pwedeng yung conflict sa bahay o sa relasyon. And of course, kasali rin dito yung recovery challenges like yung pagbalik sa work, no, or yung return to work. And balikan ko lang rin kanina yung na-mention ko, no, na relapse drill, no, which is ang goal is ihanda ang pamilya sa posibleng pagbalik ng sintomas or nung relapse. So ang method nito is gumagawa ng relapse prevention plan, which is tinutukoy ang prodromal signs or yung early warning signs, at ang bawat miyembro ay binibigyan ng specific roles gaya ng pagtawag ng psychiatrist o pag-monitor ng routines. So dealing with resistance, no, minsan ayaw tanggapin ng pasyente ang diagnosis. So may mga techniques na ginagamit dito like pinapaintindi or nino-normalize na lang yung denial as adjustment. And also pwede rin gumamit no ng mga analogies, like for example si bipolar is like this diabetes or hypertension, although chronic siya but manageable naman. And pwede rin share family struggles to reduce stigma, and of course encourage openness or emotional openness. So ang key clinical themes no across family focused therapies, firstly reframing, which is binibigyang kahulugan ang negative behaviors bilang bahagi ng coping, and validation no, which is kinukumpirma at pinapakita na naiintindihan ang hirap na pinagdaraanan, and empowerment no, which is lahat ng miyembro ng pamilya ay binibigyan ng role sa pagpapagaling. And lastly, which is one of the most important, is the individualization, which is tinutugma no ang strategies ayon sa dynamics ng bawat pamilya. So lastly, we have the termination of FFT or the family focused therapy no, which is typically tumatagal ang FFT ng humigit kumulang 9 months. So as for its process no, it firstly review of 6 goals, and then nagkakaroon ng assessment of current symptoms versus the baseline, and also may mga discussions of future plans. So as for its post-treatment options naman, nagkakaroon ng maintenance sessions, referral to individual therapy or support groups like yung DBSA or Depressive and Bipolar Support Alliance, the NAMI or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So sa final session naman no, magkakaroon ng final relapse drill review, and reinforcement of communication and problem solving strategies. Also, strong reminder about medication adherence. So lastly dito, we can conclude no that si FFT offers a hopeful and structured pathway for managing bipolar disorder. So sa pamamagitan ng FFT, natutulungan ang buong pamilya na maging mas epektibong suporta sa pasyente at sabay-sabay silang natututo kung paano harapin ang sakit. Hindi lang bilang individual kundi bilang isang buuan at nagkakaisang pamilya. So yun lang po at maraming salamat.